What's up, guys? Tugi here, back again, and this is the first episode of my Boston Bruins franchise mode series here on NHL 17. Yes, I did one last year, and I'm doing one again. This will probably be an annual series for me. Unlike most people, where you get your hands on the new game, you go into franchise mode or GM mode, whatever the hell you want to call it, from year to year, and you use your favorite team. So for me, if I was going to do that anyway, why not make it a series? Why not get you guys involved? And maybe possibly along the way try to entertain you, which for me, my God, is that a fucking hurdle. But you never know. Crazier things have happened. Now, this first episode is strictly a setup video. Nothing major is going to take place, so some people may find that boring, but just know that you can get in on the groundwork of this series and help me establish what we do throughout the entire series and how we approach this first season with the Bruins. Now, I do have a lot of stuff that I need to get to. Well, not really. It's two major things. The rules of this series and the fact that we are using custom rosters. Now, if you haven't seen the videos that I put out discussing my custom rosters, I understand, because one of them was 45 minutes. So the TLDR on that, or would you put a W in there because it's a video? Regardless, long story short, these custom rosters I've used are set up in a way to get teams using the players that they're pretty much currently using. So, for example, Chikrin on Arizona, a little bit higher rated than what he would normally be. Carlo, for us, higher rated than what he would be in the EA official rosters, because we want these teams using these players. The major aspect of this was paying great attention to the CHL and hoping that my series can be different from pretty much anyone else's that you will see, because you will inevitably see prospects turn into the regular NHLers, if not superstars, that they should be and would be if EA paid proper attention, easy for me to say, to some of these guys. So a lot of overalls have changed, and I do look forward to seeing if that will pan out, if indeed those players will become what they should be. But that's not a guarantee. But that is an interesting wild card and a curveball that will be presented to us. Along with that, we do have quite a few created players. I believe the final count was 60 in the game. The vast majority are players that EA couldn't put into the game or hadn't put into the game by the time I had started to edit these rosters. The other ones are just simply players they couldn't put in because they are in the NCAA. We have a couple on them, or we have a couple of those type of players on the Bruins. We'll get to them later. But for example, Arizona has Clayton Keller. Colorado has Tyson Yost, or Tyson Jost, however the hell you want to pronounce that. Dallas has Riley Tufte. So high-level players, or high-drafted players from the past two drafts that were missing, have been added in. And like I said, it's all just a matter of trying to get a unique sim, legitimately a unique sim out of this. And we'll see as to whether or not that happens. Now, before we get into the Bruins roster and what we want to do, the rules basically of the series, the aim is to keep it as realistic as Jesus, easy for me to fucking say. I'm stumbling over everything. The goal of this series is to have a realistic sim, a unique sim, and a challenging sim. Now, of course, the uniqueness of this will depend upon how we, trades that happen, how we approach things, and of course, as to whether or not those certain prospects that we have edited end up being good. The challenging part, now, we have two major rules in place. In regards to free agency, we won't be signing everybody. If you watch the Nord series, you'll know these guidelines pretty much. And we'll touch up upon them in greater detail when the time comes. But free agency, we're not going to be signing all the best prospects. At the draft, we're not going to be getting, 16 first-round picks. And, just, we're not going to be doing that. And like I said, we'll get into greater detail later on. And more rules can be added. But it's just a matter of I want to keep this as realistic as possible. We're not going to go out and trade for Connor McDavid. We're not going to go get Patrick Laine. Although this game is kind of weird in terms of trade value, and I'll actually show you, it values high top six. It makes that more important than low elite, which, again, this game isn't exactly the best and most realistic sim on the market, but even it's just stuff like that makes no sense. Like, why is low elite, 86 overall at 20 years old, Nikolai Ehlers lower in value than, say, Jack Roslovic, or Roslovic, however you pronounce that as well? Makes no sense, but that's the way the game is. So I think I've made my point clear. Like I said, it's tough when you have a lot on your mind that you need to get out there, and you just constantly feel like you are forgetting something. But as far as the rules go, of course, we can make more down the line. But for now, the draft, the free agency, that's good to go. The other major rules really pertain to what we do with the Bruins, so let's get into that. Now, I do think it would be more interesting for this series because anybody could turn a team into a winner. I could trade Adam McQuaid for draft picks and just trade players that we don't want for draft picks. Turn fourths into thirds, so on and so forth, and just turn this team into a fucking dynasty within moments. To make it more interesting, we will try to honor these contracts, and I do want to get your opinion on this. But I think the best way to go about it would be to establish who we want to get rid of and put them on the trading block and see what teams come to us with for those players. I mean, someone like Ryan Spooner, who has been rumored to be, being shipped out of Boston for quite a while, it would make sense to maybe put him on the trading block and see what we could get rather than just trading him for whatever and being able to take advantage of the game engine. But I guess we'll go position by position here. Goaltending, though, we're good. We have Tuukka Rask. Khudobin is a fine backup for the moment. We have Subban, Zane McIntyre, and Daniel Vladar in the minors with Providence. So we are good to go. Defense-wise is where our first choice really comes in. Now, Zdeno Chara, first things first, because he's the biggest name here. He is staying. We are not trading him immediately. If we are not in a playoff spot as we approach the trade deadline, he will be put on the trading block. But for now, Chara's off limits, guys. We're not getting rid of him. He's not going on the block just yet. Torrey Krug, probably going to be a crucial piece for us, same as Carlo. But then we have just a bunch of guys that could be put on the trading block to start the season. John Michael Lyles, Kevin Miller, Adam McQuaid, and in the AHL, we have Colin Miller, and then Joe Morrow, who's a depth defenseman. The others are top six. So my first question to you is, do we put one of these guys, or maybe even Colin Miller himself, on the trading block, or do we just keep someone like Colin Miller, or say Adam McQuaid if we want to send him down? Do we keep them in Providence? So let me know. Do we put one of these defensemen on the trading block, or do we just leave it as is and put one of them down in Providence? And let me know, of course, what defenseman that would be and what defenseman you would choose. As far as the AHL defense goes, obviously, if we choose to keep one of those defenders, I mean, things are still looking all right. We do have a pretty solid defense. Even if we get rid of someone, I'm not sure if it would be the best idea to sign Charlie McAvoy, because he would most likely take a spot away from Linus Arneson. But that is the current situation on defense. For some reason, it's put Lozon and Zaboral on Providence, which just isn't right, so that kind of sucks. But that's the situation on defense. It's a little bit dire until some of these prospects get a little bit better. Taking a look at our right wings currently, Backus and Pasternak. That's set up and good to go. Jimmy Hayes, somebody who could be a very popular vote to go on the trading block. We have Austin Czarnik, who was a hero in my Vancouver series on NHL 16. Again, check that one out as well. I'll reference it a lot. A lot. In the AHL with Providence, we have Anton Bleed, a decent prospect. Randall, Ronaldo, somebody who could be voted to be on the trading block, although he only has a year left. Zachary Senyshyn, I think it's Senyshyn. Someone will correct me on that. God damn it. Right now, medium top six at 19 years old, 65 overall, looking like, again, he has been put on Providence, although we may be able to send him back to junior if we try to call him up. But he's somebody who could factor in the future. Left wings at the moment, Brad Marchand, Ryan Spooner, Matt Bolesky, and Tim Schaller. Frank Vetrano we have to call up, so we'll figure that situation out. Have some decent names down here as well, so that's not looking too bad. Like I said, the Bruins have some good prospects. It's just a somewhat dire situation right now with the main team, but we have some decent guys that we could use. It's just a matter of who do we want to try to get rid of right now through the trading block, and what do we want to try to bring in. And before we get a quick look at the lines, those unsigned players, we have 5 of them: Anders Bjork, Jacob Forsbacka Carlson, Trent Frederick, Oscar Steen, and Jesse Gabriel. It is Jesse Gabriel. For some reason, I didn't think it was. I was right. Regardless, I think that's pretty much all I can say at this point. Again, it's one of those situations where I always feel like I'm forgetting something, especially when it's the first episode of a series and you really want to try to establish what you're going to be doing. But overall, we have rules to make it more difficult. We're using custom rosters to try and get a unique sim and to have a unique experience here. And the team itself, we're not going to be wheeling and dealing. We're going to stick with this group for the moment and use the trading block to try and get players out. And like I said, after the first year, if we want to just decide, make whatever trades you want, we can do that. That will be up to you guys, as will a lot of the decisions that will be made in this series. If you guys have any suggestions on what I should do with this series, rules, guidelines, players, anything, if you have any suggestions, criticism, constructive, negative, just anything, let me know down in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Like I said, it's a big hurdle for me, but I want to make this series as entertaining and engaging as I possibly can. And I think the best way to do that would be to stop rambling right now and to end this so I can get those answers from you guys and we can move on and start the first season sim with the Bruins in the next episode. So guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed this first episode. I look forward to your feedback, and I look forward to the series. I think it should be a fun one. If you enjoyed this episode, of course, make sure to drop a like to help support my channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, because you're not going to want to miss this series. You probably will, because there's so much good stuff to watch. So much good stuff to do. But for some reason, some of you guys decide to dedicate time in your lives to watching me. I said I wouldn't ramble. God, the self-deprecation's out of control. I will see you guys in the next episode. Again, let me know what you think, what we should do, all that good shit, and I will see you guys in the next one.